watching News Night here on Times Now World. My name is Athar Khan. Today, a group of 62 personalities came out and wrote another counter-open letter in, well, really against what the 49 people had written earlier. That open letter to the Prime Minister, these 62 claim is based on a political bias and on selective outrage. They say the criticism there is selective in nature, where these 49 individuals who wrote the first letter deliberately trying to portray a biased and warped picture of the country. They've blamed political backing, foreign funding. Now they say that this is also an attack on the majority community in the country. And by using the slogan of Ram and portraying it as almost becoming a war cry, the 49 who wrote the letter first are trying to malign an entire community. Now we've also seen reactions coming in from those 49 who actually wrote the first letter. We'll show you some reactions that came today of the 62 who wrote the letter today, and of course rebuttals of the ones who wrote the first open letter to the Prime Minister. Take a look at these reactions first.
I think that is a false narrative. They must know that this was a selective outrage, primarily aimed at Hindu community to embarrass them and therefore corner Mr. Narendra Modi.
For a very long time, the human rights, the rights of the people in West Bengal are endangered, but intellectuals, those who have written the letter, remain silent.
आपने इससे पहले भी कितने ऐसे किस्म के षड्यंत्र खेले, लेकिन नरेंद्र मोदी जो है वो बड़े मेजॉरिटी से वापस जीत के आया। तो इनको अगर थोड़ी बहुत भी अकल होती तो इनको समझ में आना चाहिए कि लोग आप पे भरोसा नहीं कर रहे।
Basically very selected outrage going on, and this is a pattern we have seen. All this award wapsi. Petition is very selective. They don't see the other side of it.
All right, joining us right now is Sanjeev Srivastava, senior journalist, along with Sandhya Jain, also another journalist, Tuin Sinha of the BJP, and Chetan Singh, a political analyst. Thank you all for being with us here on News Night. Let me start with Sanjeev Srivastava. 62 personalities coming out in a rebuttal point by point, including Prasoon Joshi, filmmakers like Vivek Agnihotri and others, who say that the first letter smacks of selective outrage, it smacks of a political bias. In fact, people have gone on to say that this is out-and-out politics, not even a political bias. I spoke to Vivek Agnihotri earlier in the day, and I asked him whether he thought this was a politically biased letter, the first one, Sanjeev. He says, no, it's not even bias, it's just politics. And ironically, I agree with him. Do you?
Hello?
See, when the 49 people wrote their letter and Aparna Sen was doing most of the pressers or meet the press kind of programs, she made it a point time and again to say that please don't associate it with politics. We are trying to say that because the Prime Minister said Sabka Vishwas together with Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, that's why we are pleading before him to make sure that such things stop. But the fact of the matter is that there was an element of politics in it, because all those signatories to the letter were people who have consistently taken a anti-BJP, anti-Narendra Modi stand over the years. That does not make the content of the letter incorrect. But there is a political dimension, we cannot wish it away. And that politics or the political dimension has been now truly joined by this other side countering, where 62 people have come out and written these letters saying these people, the first 49 are politically biased. You know, very honestly, if you just give me another 30 seconds, I think both the letters, both the signatories and the content of both the letters are correct in parts. While the first letter is absolutely right. Yes, there are not like lynching every day or every week, but even one lynching needs to be condemned in the name of religion, and it needs to be pointed out that exemplary punishment should be given to the mob trying to mete out justice.
Okay, fair enough. Sandhya Jain is also with us.
House smugglers or whatever.
Sandhya Jain is also with us.
At the same time, the second lot is also right. Why was not there this similar outrage when Kashmiri Pandits were thrown out?
Yes.
Or other things happen, or Hindu temples are vandalized? Unfortunately, the larger point is lost in this tu me kind of letters.
Okay, which is obviously all lynchings are bad, and all violence in the name of religion, no matter which group perpetrates it, is absolutely abhorrent and should not be allowed. Clearly. But Sandhya Jain is also one of the signatories of the letter that came out today, out of the 62 who signed that particular letter. Now, you heard Mr. Srivastava, Sandhya.
Yeah,
he says that the content of the first letter in parts is not incorrect. There are concerns there that every Indian, regardless of community, culture or religion, should be worried about. But the content of your letter seems to suggest that everything the first letter has said comes out of a political bias. Why do you say that?
What I want to say about this first letter, the remarkable thing about it is that it is vague. It's a diffuse criticism, as if it is building up for something else. Either it wants to sustain narratives made in the past, and it doesn't have an actual focus. The only point you can pin on, and I saw it carefully, was Jai Shri Ram. Now, I think this could be, given the past conduct of certain political parties, this could be actually aimed not at Narendra Modi, but at the Supreme Court. Last time the Supreme Court was going to take up the Ram Janmabhoomi case, we had an impeachment drama which went nowhere, but the Supreme Court backed off on that case. Now again there's some kind of mediation going on which nobody knows where it's going and who has appointed the mediators. But then on August 1st, something is expected to resume. This could be an indirect hit at the Supreme Court. Coming to the lynchings and so things, I don't want to get into competitive religion, competitive politics, competitive decency or anything like that.
Okay.
But if they are saying that one community is targeted, please note that women of that community last 2 days wearing their black burqas have come out and joined the Kavad Ganga Yatra. So does that not negate the fact that the community is feeling targeted?
Okay.
So on whose behalf are they speaking?
Okay, fair enough. Now I want to go across to Chetan. You heard both Sanjeev and Sandhya. Chetan, clearly Sandhya has her own opinion on it. He said it could be a hit on the Supreme Court, but we do know Sandhya who ordered the mediation. It was the Supreme Court themselves that ordered the mediation. But that aside, Chetan, respond to what Sandhya has said.
See, I mean, this country is Vasudev Kutumbakam. And out here, you know, when we talk about perception versus true perception, it is a matter of serious concern. You see, we are trying to create a kind of a perception, but when it comes down to true perception, picture is entirely different. So what I'm trying to say here, if somebody has raised the concern, a serious concern, a genuine concern, where they feel like, you know, some changes should take place in the society, where like everybody is going to go together hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder. If this kind of a, you know, I mean, concern has been raised to the person who is sitting at the helm of the affair, there's no harm in it. They have not done any crime. And they're in the democratic setup, in the constitution, people have got all the right to raise their concern, to raise their voice. And whom they have raised, they have straight away approached the senior-most person, the person sitting at the helm of the affair. So now the ball is in Prime Minister
Chetan,
that's how I'm going to respond to it.
Chetan, I agree with you. By raising their concern, everyone has the right to raise their concern with the Prime Minister. I'm not against that. But certain quarters have come out with the criticism suggesting that by labeling the communities under attack,
the problem is with the
by
media.
labeling,
Problem is here again with the media. Why
me,
media is raising this question again and again?
By labeling
this is
one
my
particular
concern.
community.
What do you mean by labeling? What do you mean by selective community? Why? This is the secular fabric of this country, of our constitution is the strength of our country.
No, I understand
is the strength of each and every citizen of this country. So therefore, whenever any attack is going to happen on it, it is the voice. The voice.
No, but where is the outrage, Chetan?
For right.
You know, the BJP has been asking the whole day, where is the outrage? Even the 62 who have written the letter today have asked, where is the outrage when the majority community is the target of violence? Where is the outrage when people are killed in Bengal who happen to belong to the majority community? Why in the past have there been no such letters when the other community has been at the receiving end? That's what they're saying. It's inconsistent, hence the questions, hence the doubt, and hence the suspicion of a political bias. Chetan?
Can I say something, Athar?
Yes, I believe Chetan, we've lost Chetan, but Sanjeev, go ahead. Before I go to Tuhin, I have to go to Tuhin. Keep it short, Sanjeev. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So, very short. The best course would be that 49 of 2 days ago and 62 of today, 111 people, eminent people, creative people, involved in the society people, why don't they sit together and draft a letter? Why don't they talk about everything which is worth concern, about which the Prime Minister's attention needs to be drawn, and make a point? I think there are parts in both the letters which are not entirely incorrect. What is incorrect is this kind of political shadow boxing between two groups. So one has become left of center anti-Modi camp, the other has become pro-Modi camp. So where does it leave Indians and India? So we are once again stuck in politics.
Okay, Tuhin, respond to that. Now, both letters are correct in part. People suggest that there is substance in both the letters, perhaps not entirely or wholly so, but clearly some very important points made by both sides. Would you then address it as perhaps something that that can be worked out, or do you outrightly reject the first letter again and again?
An intellectual, the basic prerequisite to be called an intellectual is that you should be able to think afresh. When you talk about these 49 intellectuals who have written this letter, they have been writing the same letters for the last 15 years from the time that Modi ji was the CM of Gujarat. It seems that they only changed the date of the letter and rehash it. And that is why this letter today, which must have come out for the umpteenth time, does not hold any credibility. If you purely look at what has happened in the last few weeks, I'll just give you two incidents. In one incident, on a midnight between the 23rd and 24th of June, in the heart of Delhi, a temple was desecrated when people raised some very incendiary religious slogans. Now, they don't refer to those religious slogans. Then in Ranchi, a bus with engineering students was virtually ransacked, again with certain incendiary religious slogans. They don't refer to those religious slogans. So, they seem to be rehashing an old propaganda which they have been carrying out for the last 17, 18 years. And that is why, the content of this letter is out of place. It just doesn't hold any credibility.
Okay, but do you deny that there have been incidents where certain slogans have been used and the minority community has been targeted? I'm not saying that there's a pattern and everything the 49 is saying is correct, but I'm saying, are you taking away their right?
The Ranchi incident was a reaction to the killing of Tarbez.
I understand. But are you saying, Tuhin, that by writing that particular letter, and even if you don't agree with the content of the first letter, should we take away the right of those 49 to air their views, even if they are biased?
No, they have every right to air their views. I just wish they educate themselves a little more about the way law functions.
Okay.
Law and order is a state subject. The IPC is adequately empowered. There are sufficient provisions in the IPC wherein every state government can stringently deal with these issues, according to the existing provisions of IPC.
Okay, but what are the demands also? And Sandhya wants to come in.
I just want to make a point.
Yes, Sandhya wants to come in.
We keep hearing about the terror. Hello, I just want to make one or two brief points.
Yes.
We always hear about attempts of a majority community to harass or terrorize other communities. Whenever we look on the ground and there is an instance, then migration is only of the so-called majority community. Who is terrorized? Have these people ever spoken on that aspect? Right now in Kairana, something is going on. You have to look at these aspects. Then today or yesterday, hello?
No, I think Sanjeev wants to, he's contradicting you right now on the program saying there's nothing happening in Kairana, but Sanjeev, go ahead, make your own point.
365 cows were fitted with IEDs to terrorize the BSF to let them cross the border. The BSF Jawans have taken the risk of risking their lives to save the cows from the IEDs and also from crossing the border. Is that not an attack on one faith?
Ma'am, where exactly has this happened? Please tell us.
There's a tweet today by Professor Hariom.
Okay, I don't know about that, ma'am. I can't verify it independently.
IEDs,
who is Professor Hariom?
Okay, I can't verify that independently on this show.
Yeah, I understand, but it's
I can't verify that on this show.
It's a responsible thing.
Yes, I can't verify this independently, but Sanjeev, go ahead. Sanjeev.
I also don't know. See, if she had pointed out about the forced ouster of Kashmiri Pandits, which was 30 years back, I would have completely agreed with her. But about Kairana, I don't know. I haven't read it anywhere, and just a Swaraj magazine tweet doesn't make it gospel truth. You need more independent confirmation. The fact of the matter is, yes, there are certain grievances which the majority community also feels and has, and we all know them, and it has been articulated over the decades. But that doesn't mean what has the first letter demanded? That it should any mob meting out justice, whether it is a majority community mob or a minority community mob, it should be made a non-bailable offence with the strictest possible punishment and imprisonment terms. Now, what is wrong with that? If as a country, even if there is one incident every year, if as a country we allow mob to rule, whether it is a Ranchi mob of minority community or a majority community mob of Alwar or any place else,
going on
the issue at hand is,
the
issue at
and in all these years you have never raised this point in the middle of a parliament session without any homework, without bringing a parallel document for the parliament to see. You just write a letter out of the blue. What is the point?
Is there anything wrong? Is there anything wrong?
What is
there anything wrong in asking for the strictest punishment for people handing out mob justice? If we allow mobs to deliver justice, then what kind of a society are we going on?
No, in West Bengal, people are picked up for voting for BJP and hung from the street. Have you raised the issue
please,
there?
But doesn't that apply to those mobs as well? Sandhya, let me ask you a question.
It will apply.
But it will apply to everybody, no?
It will apply.
It will apply to everybody. It won't discriminate between minority mobs or majority mobs. If there is a law, one second, please allow me. One second, allow me. Chetan, please, allow me. Just want to say, Sandhya, that if there is a law which makes mobs who are part of lynch mobs, it makes it a non-bailable offence, wouldn't that apply equally to any kind of mob, whether it's a majority-led mob or a minority-led mob? Wouldn't the law apply equally?
Hello?
I think seem to have lost Sandhya there. Chetan Singh wants to come in. Chetan, go ahead.
Athav, this is despicable if any kind of lynching is taking place of any community, first. Second most important point is that maximum number of lynching is taking place in those states where BJP is in power. So here it's a serious matter of concern.
And but West Bengal also, Chetan, you're forgetting West Bengal also. There have been so many cases of violent attacks.
I am not denying.
Hold on. But why are you pointing out only BJP-ruled states?
Athar, give me at least 20-30 seconds uninterrupted. First, you pointed out West Bengal, fine. Second most important point, like Sanjeev ji has made a point very clearly, but tell me, why Modi ji has added Vishwas? Because he has read it quite well. He could have anticipated that he needed support and to politicize this entire issue.
No, what is the problem?
Even in UP, the report Law Commissioner.
You tell me what is the problem. Please tell me. Tell me now.
Is of the hate crime.
What is the problem? He can make his own slogans.
See, he can make his own slogan, but he is the Prime Minister. He is above than any party line. So what is important here? He has also read the situation. And we should not
in saying Sabka Vishwas.
I am not denying there is nothing wrong in it, but he could have anticipated the situation and he has seen that how in 2.0 government certain people are going to be far more firm and stringent and they will be little aggressive also. He could have anticipated. And this is not only about one minority, it is also about
Tuhin, you must respond.
Let me debunk this myth that the maximum number of lynchings take place in BJP ruled states.
The maximum number of hate crimes actually take place in Bengal and in Kerala. In the last 10 years, at least 200 RSS activists have been killed by the combination of PFI and the left parties over there. But for you, they don't count as Indians, I'm sure. So you don't even register those figures when you talk about lynching incidents. So first of all, I think we need to get over this myth. In Bengal last year, in September, 2 students were shot by policemen just because they had demanded physics teachers, and instead they were given Urdu teachers. So in Bengal, this violence is state-sponsored.
Entire resources in Bengal. Why do we always focus on Bengal?
Okay.
Understand this situation.
Time out. We have some more reactions coming in. Chetan, Prasoon Joshi has also spoken. He is obviously part of the signatories who've written that letter today. He gave a detailed sort of reaction today. Let's play that out. Also, we have Adur Gopalakrishnan, who reiterated and doubled down on the first letter written by the 49. Let's take a look at both reactions right now. We'll come back for closing comments from our guests, and I also have something else to say. But please take a look at this first.
See, first of all, I think I should make it very clear to you that I am against anything which degrades humanity, harms humanity, human life. Human life is supremost. So anywhere you see anybody compromising that, I would always oppose that. But that's not the question. The question is very different here. The scene is very different here. I feel that a few people, because they are privileged to have a voice, they know the lexicon of the elite world, they know how to put their ideas forward, they are taking advantage of it and trying to create a narrative which is kind of false narrative.
It started as mere lynching here and there in the northern part of India. Then of late, they have started making the victim, shout Jai Shri Ram before he, finally collapses. And every human being yearns for their life, so they may shout in that agony. They may shout Jai Shri Ram. Just imagine what kind of tribute are you giving to the God Rama? It is so hideous an act. It doesn't stop there. Even when you kill somebody, it doesn't stop there. It spreads a feeling of fear.
So both sides are doubling down on their stances here. Let me just take concluding remarks from all my guests. If I could very quickly, starting with Sandhya, Tuhin, then Sanjeev and Chetan. Go ahead, Sandhya, if you can hear me right now. I don't think she can, but Tuhin, very quickly, 30 seconds or less. Concluding remarks on Newsnight.
Gopal Krishnan should ask us, living in South India, in the last 5 years, how many RSS Karyakartas have been hacked to death most brutally in cold blood? Where was he then? When a calf was slaughtered in front of a Congress party office, cooked and then distributed, where was their conscience then? What are they talking? There is no credibility with this lot.
Okay. Tuhin Sinha, very quickly.
Intellectuals seem to be oblivious of history. Unfortunately, in the last 1,000 years of our history, there have been acts of violence. And in fact, I have grown up in a place called Jamshedpur, which in 1979 witnessed some of the worst incidents of communal violence. Which government was there at that point of time? So I think, these people need to educate themselves a little more about history.
Okay.
As of today, I can tell you this government is committed to attaining Sabka Vishwas, and and each state government and the directive to each state government will be to take the most stringent actions according to the existing provisions of the IPC whenever such a hate crime occurs, irrespective of which community the
Chetan Singh, concluding remarks, then we'll end with Sanjeev.
See, most important out here is to understand that it's just 2 months that the elections are over, so blame game should not happen. What is important here is to work on ground. There are many challenges in our country to work on ground, and the government must not deviate the core issues with these kind of issues which are coming up. These issues are important, but their focus should be on the ground realities. There's immense challenges on ground in our country right now. Okay. Unemployment, health issues. We have recently seen what has happened in Bihar. Over there also it's their government. In Maharashtra we have seen that how buildings are collapsing. So it is important for government to act on the core issues.
Sanjeev, we have very little time here, 30 seconds or less. What do you make of this to and fro, the two letters and the two competing narratives, if I may call them?
I think Sandhya earlier in her first reply said that let us not fall for any kind of competitive blame game, and Tuhin referred to 1979. It's neither 1979 nor 15th century nor 11th century, not even 1989. It's 2019. Let's build an India of future. Let's take everyone together, like the Prime Minister said.
Yes.
And so stop playing blame game. There are problems we have. We need to address them.
We need to address them. No use burying our heads in the sand like ostriches. Thank you, Sandhya, for joining us. Thank you, Sanjeev Srivastava, Chetan Singh and Tuhin Sinha. That was Newsnight. I am Athar Khan. Thank you for joining us.